Shalom to all the Jews and Gentiles alike, sending a strong Shalom to the children of light. Namaste to all. You already know what the deal is. We're going to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, our power, to El Elyon, the Great Spirits, the All Parents, down in our Father Universe, Yahuwah Sabaoth, 𝐭𝐡𝐢𝐬, Wakanda, Hawa, Yahadonai, and acknowledgement to our earthly mother, and acknowledgement to our elder brother, Yahushua HaMashiach, Yahushua Isa Matzah the Lamb, Yesiah the Messiah, Yahusha the Lion from the tribe of Yehuda, the one the world calls Jesus Christ. So today, brethren and sistren, this video, we're going to be going to some places. All right. We're going to be learning a little bit of Hebrew today. Yes, I said it. We learning a little bit of Hebrew today. And this video that we doing wasn't actually supposed to be the video. We had something else planned, but Spirit hit me and was like, oh, take a look at this. I was like, what? That's crazy. That's insane. And I was like, you know what? Give me a bit more time with it. And I was like, you know what? Let me do it. Let me do the video. So this gonna be a crispy lesson, and they're gonna set us up for the next lesson we got planned. All right. So let's get into it. Let's go to the good old Bible. This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 8. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gifts of the Elohim, the Godhead. Now, religion, they love using this verse, and they don't really get down to the nitty gritty. They don't really break it down, right? So, for example, the word grace, right? It's gonna say favor in the definitions. But you don't really go anywhere with that. All right, so we about to go into the word grace and what it means Hebraically. So we got the word grace in Hebrew as hana or hain. And we have the pictographical Hebrew of this word. And we got, starting from the right, het, which is supposed to represent a fence or a gate. It's to keep something in or something out. Then we got the nun, which is the seed, supposed to represent life. Then we have hey, which is a man worshiping, putting their hands up, right? And so what we're going to see here is how grace or hana got to do with pitching a tent or an encampment. All right, so let's go get that. So let's go to the etymological dictionary of biblical Hebrew, and we about to go on page 83, and here we have hana, and starting from the right, this is in modern Hebrew, we have the het, the nun, and we have the hey, and it says here, rest temporarily from directed movement. First definition, resting. Second definition, camp, where one stays temporarily, right? So we see that hana got to do with resting, or you add a camp. Now let's go into the Bible, and we gonna see how it's literally all over the scriptures. Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 26 and verse 17. And Isaac departed thence and pitched his tent, that Hanah, in the valley of Gerar, and dwelt there. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 34 and verse 7. The angel of the Lord encampeth Hanah round about them that fear him, and delivered them. It's the book of John, chapter 14, verse 23. 𝐻𝐻𝐿 answered and said unto him, If a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode, our Hanah, with him. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 19 and verse 2. For they were departed from Rephidim, and were come to the desert of Sinai, and had pitched in the wilderness, that Hanah, and there Israel camped before the mount. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 13, verse 19. And what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds. So we see that Hanah is all over the place, alright? And so another Hebrew letter that you can use in replace of Het is actually Beit, which is supposed to represent a house. Let's go to the keys. Let's go to the keys. Let's go to the book of knowledge. Let's go to key 207. And we're not going to read the header per se, but we're going to be looking at the Hebrew letters. So we got the word Beit on the right, and we got Nun, which is the seed, on the left. So we got the words Beit and Nun. Let's get a precept. Hold on. We're going to come back to the key. Hold on. Let's get a precept. Let's go to the ancient Hebrew language and alphabet. This on page 127. And this is in the parent root dictionary. So we got Beit, which is a house, and Nun, and it means house continues, or tent panel. Oh, we getting somewhere. Let's go back to the book of knowledge, the keys. Key 207, verse 6. The teaching of light are sent down from the higher worlds to the lower planetary creations in the higher language of light, which communicates through pulsating geometries of light, or ideographic cybernetics. These teachings of wisdom are given to allow higher man to have communion with other planets of intelligence. Let's go get the definition for ideographic cybernetics for those that just don't know. Definition for ideographic cybernetics: language of light symbols, working with more than two-dimensional forms of graphic language. They are geometric pictures and signs which work on many levels of consciousness through a control system connecting the brain and electrical networks. The higher evolution makes use of picture codes, which they can imprint into the feedback systems of the brain to advance sensory input/output, so that it is no longer concomitant to the time patterns of consciousness in the physical universe. The process allows higher intelligence to communicate regardless of verbal language, giving mental direction that will alter the memory substrate of language, affecting the psychological, neurological, biochemical, and cosmological levels of thought attunement. Let's go back to key 207. Let's go to verse 38. This divine language is also the inductive linkage to the still small voice within the body, which advises you on real day-to-day decisions in the world, so that your consciousness will not err in executing the Father's will. Let's get a precept. Let's go to the ninth light picture superscript Thou shalt be the communion. So the pitching of tents is the communion with the higher evolution. Let's go to 167. 9 superscript. So on the higher levels of consciousness linkage, or what I was told to call inductive linkage, is the communion, which sustains and gives information to our image and similitude from the overself, our higher self. This process being blessed by the Holy Spirit. Most importantly, communion creates a unity with the presence of the divine and us through the sharing of sacred thoughts from Christ, the Holy Spirit, and the Most High El Elyon. Communion is the true interconnectedness with divine thought, divine presence, and divine realms. We are able to experience this because we have ongoing consciousness linkages, called by science non-local awareness, based on the inner, also cellular codings we share from the heavens, even while in this 3D form of life. With non-local awareness, our thought forms connect instantaneously, faster than light. Yet this linkage connects us with the divine universal mind, which is more than the local consciousness field. Let's go on to 175. In turn, communion, although requiring the proper consciousness, also connects not just with the brain, but with all cellular formations in the body, as well as through inorganic penetrations. Most importantly, we have full capability to partake in the deeper experience of communion because the original codings were gifted to us through the Godhead, the holarchy/hierarchies, and that which is encoded through the Deca Delta system. 197. Ultimately, through the power of communion, our consciousness shifts from being no longer linear nor separate, but to have a higher linkage of quantum non-local configurations, even as a V-shaped form over our heads, which allows us to establish a vortex that creates a greater universal perspective of time and space. This gives us a glimpse into all time and all space, with the overview effect that awakens us to the greater heavenly cosmos, including the throne realms. It's funny because when you take a V and you put it upside down, it's almost like a tent. Oh man. Let's go to the third light picture superscripts. Thou shalt be the name. Let's go to 330. In the Enochian cosmology, the entire program of restoration of the local universe is through grace. El Hana, the grace of God, unfolds also within us as we begin to receive the gifts that brings us into unity with the divine in our lives, especially when we share unconditional love and are in divine service. So on 332. Moreover, Yeshua indicates in the Pistis Sophia that his ascension from this planetary world initiated a change on all levels of creation. In this, he also represents the power of Hana, as he opened to us a greater portal of ascension by bringing the greater light of the divine through his vesture of sacred names, which he shares with us all. Let's get a precept. Let's go to the second light picture superscript. Thou shalt be the image. 468. Ascension is both a collective process and an individual process, as seen in Jesus the Christ. The demonstration of Jesus in the tomb to transform back into a body of light, cell by cell, confirms for those who believe how every cell, and especially the DNA, was originally a waveform of energy and light. Speaking of belief, let's get the Hebrew word for faith. Aman or Amunah. We got Aleph, which is an ox head. It's supposed to represent leadership, right? Then we got Mem, which is water. And Nun, the seed, speaking on an air. So let's go back to the Etymological Dictionary of Biblical Hebrew. And we're going to go on page 11. All right, so here we got the Aleph, and this is modern Hebrew, the Mem, and the Nun. And it says to depend on, rely upon, believing. The 10th definition, truth, trust, belief. And it's interesting how here it says we got strength and secure. But we got Aleph, Mem, and we got final Sadiq, being strong and firm. Let's go to the ancient Hebrew language and alphabet. Let's go to page 122. And here we got the Aleph and the Mem. And it says here, strong liquid, glue. Let's get the definition for faith in the Pistis Sophia. The faith that is not blind, but overstands the properties and faculties of the spiritual field surrounding physical creation, so that the mind, body, can make use of the higher attributes of the Holy Spirit. The awakened spiritual mind-body with Jesus Sophia, showing the sensitivity and intelligence of the God of the Psalms over the archons and warlords who use aggressive power in controlling the experiments of mankind. It allows for the bringing forth of genuine revelation. When it combines with the all-seeing eye of knowing, the gifts of love and glory of the divine eternal Father comes forth. So when we look at faith, Amun or Amunah, it's supposed to be washing and growing in the word. That's why the Mem is there, the water. And how do you wash and grow in the word? You reading these scripts. You increasing your consciousness. Oh man. Wait, we not quite done yet. Let's go to the Nag Hammadi. Page 291. This is the book of the wisdom of Jesus Christ. We're going to skip down a bit. So that through the immortal human, people might come to salvation and wake up from forgetfulness, self-realization, increasing your consciousness. And by increasing your consciousness, that is the strong glue, the strong and secure liquid, the alignment with the higher evolution, the communion with the higher evolution. That is the pitching of tents. That is grace. So we are saved by pitching tents with the Elohim, communion with the higher evolution. And we do that by being washed and growing in the word, which is expanding your consciousness. Oh man. Well, whoop, there it is. There it is. That's it for this lesson, for this video. Hopefully you got something out of it. You were edified. You got you a snack. You ate good. You went into the pantry closet, had you something to nibble on, had you some dinner. Hopefully it was bussin'. And I say shalom and stay strong.